are listening to Reignite, a podcast about how I sometimes forget to write the intro. I'm Frankie,
And I'm at AK Stormageddon.
and today we confront a cult leader. Axel, on behalf of our new favorite sniper boy with the help of Wren, the geek girl.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, Wren, welcome.
Well, thank you. I was going to say welcome for some reason.
You can welcome us to our own show. Sure, why not?
Welcome to your own show, everybody. Thank you for having yourselves. Thanks for having me. It's so nice to be here.
We're so happy to have you. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Wren, or Renee. I am a freelance guides writer for IGN and Eurogamer. And very, very recently with Dual Shockers, though I'm still kind of going through the process with that. And that's what I do on my off time. I write a lot of guides.
That's cool.
Yeah, guide writing is fun if anyone's ever interested in it. I used to be a Twitch streamer, but then I stopped because I had to choose between guides and streaming. So I went with guides. And then during the day, I work as an educator. So
That's awesome.
That's what I do.
If I can ask, do you teach a specific subject or?
I used to be a fourth grade teacher.
Okay.
I was a third and fourth grade teacher back in the day, and now I do more administrative work and more teacher support than that. So I haven't been in the classroom in a very long time, but I am planning on going back eventually. I just need to get my teaching credential again, and then hopefully go back into the classroom and do a little bit more teaching.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very cool. Well, before we get into your Andromeda experience, tell folks a little bit about your experience with Mass Effect. Are you an old school fan of the trilogy since the beginning? Did you get into it later?
Definitely from the beginning. I'm trying to think back in the day, and it's very far away from me. But I love everything that BioWare does. So when they said that they were creating a single player game that was in space, I was like, yes, please sign me up. And so I started playing Mass Effect right when it came out. And I played multiple missions, obviously, because you have to, with the multiple romances. And then, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, and Legendary Edition when it came out. I've got, all of my memorabilia in the back behind me. Of course, you can't see because you're listening to a podcast, but I've got the statues. I've got pictures. I got my boy, Garrus.
Yeah, I've got another Garrus lover. Great.
My boy Garrus on a piece of canvas because he deserves it.
That's true.
So, yeah.
He deserves the world, honestly.
My car's name is Garrus. My license plate is Vicarian. It's a little nuts, but I love it. I don't have to explain myself to anybody.
No,
nope.
You don't.
Least
of all us.
Least of all us, yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So you're a dyed-in-the-wool, very much a Mass Effect fan, and so talk about a little bit about your experience with Andromeda. Did you play it when it first came out? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know what you thought.
So I did start playing it when it first came out. And I have to say it was different to the point where I didn't really finish it the first time around. And I don't know what it was about it that didn't really just capture my interest, I guess, because I was still one of those people expecting Mass Effect Andromeda to feel like Mass Effect 3, I guess, or 2 or whatever. I was kind of looking forward to that. And then I realized that it wasn't. And I didn't really give Andromeda the respect and love that it deserves the first time I played it, or attempted to play it. I mean, I think there was a couple of years in between me starting the game and then actually diving into the game and playing it, because more than a few years actually, because it was when they announced the Legendary Edition is when I was like, okay, I got to play Andromeda now. I feel like now is the time to dive into Andromeda. And then when Legendary Edition comes out, I'll play that. And so I played, it's been pretty recent since I've played Andromeda all the way through. And I felt so bad I felt so bad because it's such a good game. And then I wrote like a whole think piece about how great Andromeda is, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a phenomenal game. And I, as I said, I didn't give it its due when it first came out because I was expecting something like a Mass Effect 4 kind of feel, and it wasn't, and it's not that, and it's not supposed to be that. And I really enjoyed my experience with Andromeda, and it quickly became one of my favorite games after the actual play attempt that I gave it. So
Yay!
Awesome.
I love to see it. I really do. I just love when people are like, yeah, I thought it was going to be terrible, or I didn't like it the first time, but then I went back to it and realized it was a different game than I thought it was. And now I love it.
Yeah. Which makes me, of course, super bummed that, we may never see a second Andromeda, because I feel like there's just so much to explore and to see, and it bums me out.
You know what? We hope for it. We really do.
Yeah, keep that candle burning for it is what I'm going to keep doing. So
I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind that Andromeda is absolutely Mass Effect 4 in the fact that it's the fourth game in the Mass Effect series, but it is absolutely not meant to feel anything like the trilogy. What drives me crazy now is like people are like, oh, this new Mass Effect that's coming out is going to be Mass Effect 4. No, we had a fourth Mass Effect game. This is Mass Effect 5. Whatever it is, like it's the fifth Mass Effect games. People want to like ignore that Andromeda exists because it doesn't follow the Shepard line, and it's frustrating. But yeah, it's interesting to hear the stories of people. We've had a variety of stories, people going back to the game and loving it when they hated it at first, people who loved it then and love it now, people who never played it and love it now, and so on and so forth. I think the game really just got a bum rap because it had to carry the weight of the trilogy, which nothing's going to compare to that experience. It's a similar reason I hated Chrono Cross when it came out so many years later after Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross just recently got re-released, and I want to pick it up to give it another fair shake. But I remember playing it on PlayStation being like, this isn't like Chrono Trigger. This game blows. And like, that's not like, it's that kind of expectation is understandable, but I don't think it's fair to the game itself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel for Andromeda because it did have a tough act to follow with the trilogy, which many people consider one of the best trilogies out there. And then you have Andromeda, who's like, oh, hey, we're going to get rid of all of these characters and all of these characters that you spent years living their lives, and we're going to do something new. We're going to do something a little bit different.
There are other people in the galaxy, guys.
Yeah, here's a brand new galaxy with brand new problems. Let's explore it. And people were like, no, can we just put Shepard back in Andromeda? Yeah,
no, Shepard is dead. Shepard is gone.
He died. They died, so you could live.
No,
go play something else. Well, awesome. Well, we're going to talk more details about Andromeda, specifically this mission, a mission we've been leading up to with much anticipation for our favorite soft boy of this franchise, of this particular run of Mass Effect. So, Frankie, why don't you give us a summary of Jaal's loyalty mission?
Yes, Axel has been a thorn in our side ever since we connected with the Angara. Aside from attacking Initiative colonists without provocation, Axel has also recruited Jaal's siblings, which kind of feels like a personal slight. Jaal has had enough and asks us to go with him to the Forge, a cultural nexus for the Angaran people, but not the Nexus. I see how that can be confusing. And where Axel has set up his latest operations. It doesn't take long for us to find Jaal's siblings and to see the sinister effect Axel's teachings have on his followers. It's up to Jaal and Ryder to stop Axel's plan, but who will walk away alive?
Yeah, this is one of those missions that has been threaded through the entire narrative in a way that a lot of the other loyalty missions weren't really. Most of them kind of were isolated experiences. Like they were affected by the other stuff we've done. But like this is very much, ever since we met the Angara, Axel and the rebel branch of the Angaran people have been a constant factor. We've been fighting them a ton, and so this kind of is coming to a head. So yeah, it's really interesting to see Jaal get angry. Oh, actually, before we get to the bulk of the mission, did you have a check-in with PB, MJ?
So I skipped all the check-ins because I was on a time crunch.
Got it. Okay. Then we can
talk about
that.
it because I played this game 5 times, Matt.
That's true.
It's when you miss something that we can't talk about it.
No, I just have you talk about it and I just play along.
And you smile and nod. Yeah.
Right. So when you check in with PB, PB's like, oh, good, you're here, and then runs out the door. And a recording of PB plays on her bot, pretty much admitting that she has recognized this clown car of crew as a family. These dingbats are all a family together, and she's accepted it, and then calls everyone to the comm room to like give a rousing speech of like, rah rah family, I love you all. And it's just goofy and stupid and in the best way. And then like after the rousing speech is like, so who wants to help me clean up my room? It's a mess. And everyone has excuses as to why they can't help.
Like everybody is just like, no.
My favorite is Liam goes, I have to go make ice. And then Vetra, like 3 people later, goes, I have to go help Liam make ice.
Yep. And doesn't one of them say, I just don't want to?
Yeah, I think that was
Cora?
Maybe no, Cora said these reports won't file themselves.
Someone said I just don't want to, and I cannot remember who it was.
It might have been Drac. I don't remember.
That feels like a Drac. That feels like a Drac statement.
But it was delightful, and like it's fun to see PB kind of come around. I do like her character. I like stepping out of Ryder. We're playing these games as if we're Ryder, but like objectively, I think she's a very interesting character. As Ryder, this is not a character that I always enjoy interacting with because she's a little unpredictable in a way that's just not fun sometimes. But I think she's written incredibly well and is really interesting.
Hey, question: does she ask you if you want to like be a couple?
No.
Okay.
She says that we can meet up later, and so I'm guessing that's when that happens. And so it's a fun moment. I like when we get to see this crew kind of come together more. It's very interesting and fun. The comedy writing in this game, for the most part, always lands. They know these characters pretty well.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely agree with that. That's what I appreciate about Andromeda, because it kind of feels like the Citadel DLC from Mass Effect 3 in terms of just kind of like this found family kind of happiness between them that, grows in a way that's believable. They're not just put together and they're like all of a sudden all chummy. It's like you get to see how the different relationships form between the different characters, which I think is different from what we saw in the Mass Effect trilogy. Because you really don't see those interactions between, you do kind of, right? Like Joker and Garrus, or, but like Liara never really talks to people, or, Caden doesn't really talk to a bunch of people. But at least in Andromeda, you see all of these different relationships form, like between Jal and Liam and like other characters. And I really appreciated that about the game. It's just watching them all become this ragtag team. Let's become friends.
Friendship is the best ship.
That's right.
But also, I think part of it is this is a much looser environment in terms of professionalism, whereas the Normandy was military. Even when it was Cerberus, it was military. So there's a lot more freedom in Andromeda and on the Tempest to really be friends, to fraternize, to build lives together without having to worry about professionalism.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we know professionalism is out the window, at least with certain folks like Liam.
I thought you were going to say me.
Oh, I mean, yeah, sure, that too.
I thought you were going to just jab right at me.
No, I love you too much, even though you're leaving me.
I am leaving you.
We'll get more on that later.
Forever.
Let's talk about this mission. So we go to Havarl, right?
Yes.
Is the starting point for this?
Havarl is the starting point. Look at you remembering details. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I didn't even write that one down.
Yeah, I'm super impressed.
It's interesting to see Jal this angry. I was starting to say before, right? Like he has just had it with the Rokar and wants to put an end to this. He's taking it personally because it's his family.
And as we know with the Angara, family is everything. their entire culture is built around family. And, they have multiple mothers because all of the mother figures in their community work together to raise their families. They have outrageous numbers of siblings because that's just how they grow up. That's how they live. So for Jal's siblings to be taken away like this by someone who actively wants to do Jal harm and to like destroy the things that Jal stands for, it is a very personal blow.
Yeah, for sure. I expected it to loop around this way, but I'm always curious how the personal stakes of the Angaran people work their way into the Rokar. I kind of had a feeling it was going to go in this direction, like we were going to have to save like maybe his mom's or someone important or the Moshai again or something. But for it to be his siblings, which he often talked about, makes sense also. And so we find out from Jal that he has a contact on Herval. We go meet that contact, and they go, "Great, I'm glad you're here. All's quiet, but we have a shuttle." It's the old shuttle to the mission gag. And so we get to pick our crew. I took Drac and Jal. Who did you take, Frankie?
You want to guess?
Jal and Vetra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, take my
Wren?
polycule.
Yeah, that's true. Oh no, I didn't take Drac. I took Liam
Yes.
and Jal because I wanted to take the best friends together because they're besties.
Best friends doing best friend things. Love it.
Yeah.
I believe I took Vetra. It was Jal and Vetra because I can't leave a Turian behind. So
Okay, leave no Turian behind. New shirt concept. Case, get on it.
Yeah, that's Case's job is to make us t-shirts.
And it has to have like Garrus and Vetra and what's the Turian that I fell in love with at the Citadel party? Laura Keen, I think his name is.
Oh, Laura Keen.
I think that's his name. Kandros.
Kandros on there. And then
Nyreen.
what's the name? I was going to say Nyreen as well. Yeah. Anywho, so we shuttle to the forge, and it's one of the old, it's quiet. It's too quiet moments. No one is around until we finally make our way to the entrance to the facility and catch two Rokar guards off guard. And then have to fight our way through. I do love how when we arrive, Jal is like, "We should take this quiet. We don't want anyone to know we're here." And I'm like, "Jal, have you met us? When are we ever quiet? When are we ever not the ones disrupting everything?"
This game is not built for quiet, so it feels like an insult whenever they're like, "We should sneak." Like, we should be sneaky and quiet. Like, you're just saying that to make fun of me now, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a skill tree that says sneak. Therefore, I do not use a skill called sneak. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. The mission itself, however, is pretty straightforward. This is actually one of the more cliche feeling Mass Effect missions that we have here.
I agree with that. I definitely
It's just, Frankie has in the outline, why is it always bombs? And
Why
it's like,
is it always bombs?
that's one of the first missions in Mass Effect 1 is disarming bombs. You disarm bombs here too. It's a lot of combat and then disarming the bombs once you find out. But, I mean, before we get to the bombs, we do find Jal's siblings. As we're fighting our way through, Jal recognizes two of the voices talking to each other and gets their attention. And it is his siblings. And
Three of them.
It's three of them, and it's his sister and two brothers. And what's really fascinating here is, like, as soon they approach each other, there's clearly still a love, even though they joined the Rokar. And like, as one of the brothers comes in, Jal just socks him twice, and then they hug. And I'm like, this feels very brotherly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So anyway, we talk to them. We find out, because one of the brothers is starting to feel guilty about what they're doing, that Axel actually set bombs. And that they're going to go off and destroy the forge.
But let us not forget where the bombs came from.
They were stolen from the Initiative to make it look like the Initiative did it.
Yep.
And yeah, before Lothul can like finish talking, his sister shoots him. Tevint shoots him and then freaks out and runs off because she can't believe she did it.
I just want to say, Tevinter, coincidence?
No way.
What?
Like, that's no conspiracy theory. It's just fact.
Oh, man.
Tevint was cold-blooded when she shot her brother. But She was absolutely horrified
Yeah.
the second it dawned on her what she had done. And I think it shows just how sinister Axul is. He turns people against their families. And given how precious family is to the Angara, that's like the ultimate crime, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it just shows how much power he actually had. He was able to pull all of these people to his cause, pull all these people away from their families, convince Jarl's siblings to just follow along. It's that, I mean, I get that there's a bigger bad in the game, but I feel like he's kind of up there too. He's not, yeah, he's definitely up there in terms of like villainous acts and just being a pure villain in that game, because he's just able to do that. It's like, crazy.
Okay, I'm going to make a Harry Potter reference, not because Harry Potter has any particular literary strength, but it contains a really good example. Dolores Umbridge is not the primary villain of the Harry Potter series, but she is one of the most hated characters in that fandom because of how vicious and sinister and just absolutely brutal that she becomes. And she has absolutely no redemption.
Nope, not even a little bit.
And I think Axul mirrors that. Like he doesn't really have a redemption when all is said and done here.
Yeah, I think that Axul is one of those villains that is easy to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you think of the villains in the trilogy, like Arya, for example, is a villain in the second game pretty clearly, but
we still love her.
Right. It's one of those things where Axul, there's nothing redeeming about. He's just a bad guy that you want to hate.
I do want to point out one moment just because I love it and it's lighthearted. And to kind of get us out of the man, this is depressing. When Jarl wants to introduce Ryder to his siblings, he literally grabs Ryder and yanks him forward and is like, you come here. You come here and meet my family. Yeah. Look at this.
Yeah, look
at this person that I love.
Look, moms, it's a human. Look at her. Look at him.
It's very good. It's just here. It's so awkward in the moment, but it's actually genuinely perfect for that moment.
It's like when a little kid gets a puppy and they're like, look at my puppy. And Jarl's all, look at my human. It's so cute. Yeah.
This is mine. I will die for them.
That's right.
I have had Ryder for 2 days and already I would kill everyone in this room for them.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so good. Poor Tavint. Now I'm sad again. Damn it. Jarl reminds us multiple times to follow his lead.
Yeah, that's almost hinting towards something for later.
Yeah, once we find out from Lethul what Axul is up to, which is to frame the initiative, which, by the way, if you have to generate a conspiracy, your conspiracy is bad.
Right.
If you have to generate evidence, it's a bad conspiracy. Axul, get it together. So Jarl is very happy to have us along for the ride because who else is he going to disarm bombs with?
Yeah. And so we find out that he we find out that there are bombs, and the next area is literally just combat as we go disarm bombs.
Good old bomb missions. I love them.
Yeah, they're pretty predictable at this point.
They are.
But it's just chaos. We run around, we're disarming bombs, and then we have our final confrontation with Axul.
I like that getting shot doesn't interrupt me.
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
I want to disarm the bomb. I didn't even bother fighting anyone. I just went and I disarmed bombs. I was like, you guys got this.
Oh yeah, I didn't fight anyone until I was done disarming all the bombs.
What am I gonna do? You guys have it. Someone has to disarm the bombs. It's not like you guys are gonna do it.
Yeah, that's right. I think I'm pretty sure I did the same thing. I was just running around. I'm like, Joel, Petra, you got this. I'm just going to go do this thing, and then I'll help you guys clean up. It'll be great.
Yeah, and once we do, guess who shows up?
Axel himself.
Yep. Fuck this guy, man.
He just sucks.
Yeah.
He really does. The face-off between Jal and Axel is so passionate on Jal's side. Like, he raises a lot of really good points. And the tension between Axel and Ryder is also really intense because, you know, Axel's pulling a gun on Ryder's friend. Ryder is surrounded by people that definitely want to kill them. So it's hard to restrain yourself in that situation, I feel.
Yeah. It's well, also, like, it's been leading up to this moment, right? Like, Jal has just been so angry. What I love about this part is that writing-wise, it's very good. It's very much your classic terrorist leader facing off with the hero. But, like, I never viewed Jal as badass per se. Like, I thought he was cool and a cool character, but, like, this moment, hearing his passion, the bass in his voice as he's, like, very much talking down to Axel, and then the way things play out is just very, very dramatic and well done. Axel's plan is to, like, martyr himself to, like, rally his people. Like, if you kill me, they'll just rally behind my cause. Either way, I win. And what we're presented with eventually is this moment where Axel is challenging Jal and then pulls a gun on him and threatens to shoot Jal. And in that moment, you are given a trigger to shoot Axel or not shoot him. I chose not to shoot him. Frankie?
I also chose not to shoot him, and I worry if that is a meta decision, but I think it's not, because Jal is someone that I trust. We're dealing with Jal's people. I want to say that if I were in that moment and Jal has insisted to me, follow my lead, and Jal has told me, don't kill him, I hate him, but killing him gets him what he wants, like, I have to listen to the person that I trust, you know?
Yeah. Wren, did you also make that choice?
Yeah, I wasn't going to give Axel the satisfaction of being a martyr and furthering his cause. I feel like the biggest disrespect I could give him is to let him live. And, you know, I trust Jal. I was like, okay, he tells me I'm not going to let him. Okay, I'm just going to follow the lead and see what happens. And gosh, I hope he's right. And if not, I'm loading up my save again and I'm doing it the right way. So yeah, I didn't shoot Axel. I let him do his thing, and it was very satisfying.
And now Jal has another sexy scar.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So I also, just to say, I am a person who, when I was younger, didn't trust my friends around me just because my own anxiety and paranoia. But as an adult, the friends that I know really well, I've learned to trust. And while I can still be an obnoxious nagger and like over reminder of like, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Don't forget this. When it comes to really trusting my friends, like, I tend to believe in them until I'm proven otherwise. I'm more positive than negative now in that way. Like, I just have faith in people. People I know, broader the large mass on the planet, people I have no faith in. People as a large group are idiots and suck. But my friends I trust. And so I also, for that reason, chose, like I said before, not to shoot him. And it is this very cool movie, like action movie, like John Wick style moment plays out as Axel's gun goes off. It follows the laser bolt, the blast, past Jal's face, giving him a scar on his cheek, and Jal does not even move. He doesn't even flinch.
Jal's so cool.
It's very sexy.
It is very sexy. I did flirt with him after this moment, because the next conversation you have, you can say something a little like kind and flirty, and I definitely did.
Yeah, I did too.
Same.
Because it was also accurate. So there were a couple of options for what to say. I was like, I want to say all of these, which is like, that was badass, or like, you're a better man than he is, I think was one of them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I was really worried about you, was the flirty one. And then you have this like really sweet moment where your foreheads touch. And I'm such a sucker for the forehead touch.
Yeah, it's very good.
Garrus and the forehead touch.
Yeah.
That's what ruined me.
The forehead touch, it gets you every time.
Gets you every
It really
time.
does.
Let us not forget that after Axul shows his hand and shoots at Jal, all of his followers see how absolutely unhinged he is and just put down their guns and walk away.
So good. It's so good.
So good.
Oh my gosh, the grin on my face. I'm like, this is what you get. This is so great.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
That's right. There's nothing greater than seeing a villain kind of destroy themselves, and then everybody sees how absolutely rotten they are. And then they have this lightning strike, light bulb just go, in their head going, okay, what I'm doing is insane. I gotta go.
Yeah, the cinematography in this mission is really good. Like that final moment with Axul where it's just him like standing there and then like looking at his gun and then putting it down. Like he's
and
like,
he says, I love my people.
Yeah. It's just it's very well done.
Yeah. Like while the bomb part was boring and the fighting wasn't all that interesting, the cinematography of the cutscenes in this mission are what really make it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like the writers had the ending in mind. They're like, all right, where are we going to stick in the middle? Let's just put some bomb mission thing. Cause really what we want is the end. We want to see the resolution. We want to see the confrontation. And then we want to see, what happens to Axul at the end.
The biggest of oofs.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we have any additional thoughts or notes about this mission?
I don't think so. I mean, for me, it's a pretty straightforward mission. And it's one of my favorites just because of how it resolves. It just feels very true to Jal's character. It's satisfying, even though the combat itself isn't that satisfying. The combat's fine. It's the same combat we've had. But the mission itself, the narrative is satisfying because it resolves a story that's been ongoing for a while.
I feel like all of the loyalty missions we've done have reflected the person it's for really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we had Vetra's, which was about escorting people and helping them. And that's like Vetra's whole thing, is taking care of other people. And Drax's mission where he has to come to terms with the fact that his Rushan is like growing up, and the fact that he's needed as more than just a warrior. He's also needed to like be a dad. And like, I felt like it was all very well written in terms of narrative.
That's what I've always appreciated about Mass Effect games in general, especially when they introduce like loyalty missions. I feel like they've always been pretty solid, but I feel like Andromeda kind of took it just a slight step further, I suppose, in terms of story and connection. I enjoyed every loyalty mission that was in Andromeda. They were just really good stories to tell, and it, as you said, it fits the character perfectly. And Jaws in particular was one of my favorites, so it just made me love him more. I'm like, that's it. I'm getting a Funko Pop of Jal because of this mission.
Oh, I have one too. I'm leaving him behind though.
Oh no.
I can't bring all of my Funko boys.
That's true. That'd be too much stuff.
Too many Funko boys.
Understandable.
How about some advice?
Yes. How about some advice for New Galaxy while I try and amuse my puppy who refuses to sit still?
Well, Matt, my advice for a New Galaxy: follow your heart.
Oh, it's helpful and cryptic as always.
No, it's a good one though.
You're sure to do impossible things if you follow your heart. I'm just saying, just trust your heart. And if your heart says Jal, then that's okay.
It's okay. Embrace it.
If your heart says Cora, I guess that's fine too.
Do you have any advice for me, Wren?
I would kind of just, I would probably echo the follow your heart, especially after this particular mission.
Okay.
I'm not going to try and convince your heart to choose one way or another. But if your heart turns purple with a slight blue tinge, I mean, that's you just gotta follow that message. Just saying.
Noted. Still undecided for those keeping track. I will make the decision in the heat of the moment.
You better decide.
Yeah. Well, it is time for our Andromeda Ask meme. So, Wren, if you would be so kind, please pick a character from Mass Effect Andromeda.
I picked Kandros. He's my favorite Turian next to Vetra.
Oh boy, a good one. Kandros is what was your grand adventure? I will modify it a little bit to be what was or will be your grand adventure.
So have you, Wren, had a grand adventure or are planning one anytime soon? Or hope to plan one?
In real life? Oh, man. No. No, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to plan sometimes. I mean, with everything that's going on and whatnot, I hope to have a grand adventure one day. I don't think I have yet. I have thoughts and ideas of where I would like a grand adventure to happen, whether it's overseas, heading to Scotland, or overseas going to New Zealand, because I really want to check out the Shire. That would be my grand adventure. would be to check out Lord of the Rings filming locations. But right now, I am good for more of a digital grand adventure, whether it be Mass Effect 5 or, Dragon Age, Dreadwolf. I'll settle for those grand adventures for now while I try and figure out where my next adventure might take me. It's exciting to think about, though.
How about you, Matt?
I mean, my place I've wanted to go for a very long time has been Japan. I've never been to Japan. I'm a Nintendo nerd. I like Japanese culture. I've always been a fan of it since I was a kid. And so to actually go to Japan, Tokyo specifically, would be really cool. And so I was hoping for my 40th birthday, which is in a little more than a year from now, to do that. I don't know if it'll still happen, but it's a plan I've been thinking of doing. I don't know that I've had a grand adventure yet, but that's the kind of grand adventure that I would like to have.
You both get points off for not saying your spouses and or children.
Oh my God. Oh no.
I mean,
you both have answered poorly. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding.
My spouse is not a grand adventure. They are a grand adventure partner, but they are not the adventure themselves.
But the marriage is an adventure.
Sure, but a grand adventure?
Wow.
Sorry.
It's fine. Kid. Sarah doesn't listen to this podcast. What about you, Frankie? Do you have? I mean, you have one coming up.
I have one coming up. That's why I was like, "Oh, hey." So my grand adventure is going to Northern Ireland to live there for 3 years while I work on my PhD in creative writing.
It's amazing. It's very cool.
Oh my gosh!
And
I leave in 3 weeks.
Yeah, you do.
Awesome. Oh my God, that's
and
awesome.
That actually leads us into our outro where we have some news to share.
We absolutely do. We are taking a hiatus through the month of September so that I can get a handle on living in a different country and working on my PhD. We'll be returning on October 13th with our Romance Roundtable featuring some of your favorite guests gushing about your favorite romances.
Yeah, I want to reiterate, this is a short hiatus with a specific end date. I made it very clear to Frankie that I was totally okay with taking a hiatus, however, not without a return date.
Yeah, we got to come back. It's just, so when I move over there, I have to figure out a whole bunch of things, including getting a TV or getting a monitor. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Did you know you need a license to have a TV? Not necessarily a TV, but to watch live TV in the UK? That's weird. If you're a listener from the UK, can you explain that to me? Because I still don't understand it. But also, if you're a listener in the UK, can you email us? Because maybe we could be friends. It's definitely not a selfish thing that
No.
I'm doing right now.
Because you need friends in the UK. Yeah, but it was very important to me because I've been on shows that have gone on a hiatus and then that was it. They were just like, oh, and now we're done. And I refuse to let that happen to this show. It means too much to me. But on the other hand, I do respect the mental health of my co-host. And so we agreed to take a month off and then in late September, early October, start working to prep for that return with those roundtables. And then after the roundtables, we're in the home stretch for the game itself. So yeah. Look forward to that. We will see you then. Feel free to hit us with tons of emails and reviews in that meantime. That way we have tons of stuff to read when we come back.
Absolutely. Wren, would you please share with our listeners where they can find you and follow you on the internet?
Sure. You can find me at Good Game Wren, WREN, on Twitter. That's the only real social media I'm on. You can also find me on Instagram if you just want to see pictures of food and or Arizona sunsets if you're into Arizona sunsets. But you can mainly find me. As I said, I do guides for IGN, so I do have some guides up on IGN for games like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Horizon Forbidden West, V Rising. I'm working on Bear and Breakfast right now. So you can find some of my guides there if you need some help. And if not, you could always message me.
How funny would it be if I went and got my PhD in creative writing only to just write game guides for the rest of my life?
I mean, you would not probably be the first person to do that.
I think writing game guides sounds really fun and relaxing.
Depends on the game.
It does depend on the game. I've been lucky to enjoy every game that I've done a guide for, but there are some out there I'd be like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's valid.
Like I luckily, you know, most often you get to choose what kind of game guide you want to write. They give you options, thankfully, or unless I'd be stuck writing like Elden Ring guides. And that would be horrific because that would not go well.
Well, Wren, thank you for joining us. This was a delight. We were so happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on. I really love talking to both of you about Mass Effect.
Yay!
And talking about Jal. Really appreciate it.
Well, if you guys like what you heard here, you can follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, facebook.com/reignitepod, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at iHoardLibraries and Matt at DJ_Stormageddon. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us.
We're also members of the Certain Point of View podcast network. You can go to certainpov.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server and join in the conversation.
I have nothing to plug. I'm going to Ireland.
I do actually have some plugs. When you're listening to this, the Thursday this comes out, I am currently in Seattle for PAX West. I'm very excited to be covering it for Fun and Games, and I will also be on a panel. Good friend of the show, Jacob McCourt, is doing a live version of video game trivia. I will be making my triumphant return, and it is on Friday, September 2nd at 9:30 p.m. PT in the Sphinx Theater. And it did dawn on me the other day that since I'll be on the West Coast, that'll actually be 12:30, and I will be miserable because I never stay up late. But if you want to see me groggily try and compete with 5 other contenders, please come check it out. Also, if you happen to see me at PAX West, I'll have some Reignite swag. Please say hi. I would love to interact with you if you're going to be there. So yeah, I also have other stuff, a website, do podcasts, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. Just
nobody cares about that stuff.
No, the PAX thing is the big thing.
We'd like to thank Red Spinks for our It's Okay to Be a Marshmallow t-shirt on Redbubble featuring our favorite marshmallow, Caden Alenko. You can find more of his work at Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
We'd also like to thank Carter's husband for developing more amazing t-shirt designs that you can find at certainpov.com or on the Certain POV Teespring.
I'm telling you, Case, never leave a Turian behind. It's going to be big.
It's going to be huge.
Yep. It's a winner. I'm just saying.
Thank you to David Boyle for redesigning our logo like a champ. And finally, thank you to JT Music and Andrea Storm Caden for our new theme music. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
And I'm Wren. Good luck, Pathfinders.
Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home. Feels like
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.